Hello everyone, and welcome to Rock Studios. I'm Stan Miller. I'm the PR and Analyst Relations Manager for Rockwell Automation in the EMEA region. And I'm joined today by a couple of experts. First, I'd like to introduce Paul Burke. He's Operations Director at Barrett Steel. Paul, welcome.
Hi. Okay, hi.
And I'm also joined by Peter Clark. He is the owner and CEO of CHG. Thank you for joining me.
Hi.
All right, guys. So today we're here to talk about modernizing and digitizing maintenance operations at Barrett Steel. It's a great topic, and one I'm really excited to talk about specifically because we all live in the UK. Before we get into the topic at hand though, and maybe starting with Paul first, could you just tell the audience a little bit about your company, and then Peter, if you could follow him please.
Well, we're Barrett Steel, are the UK's largest steel stockholder. We have 32 sites across the country, over 250 machines, processing machines such as saws, drills, flatbed lasers, tube lasers, and about 274 overhead cranes. So we have a big operation, in excess of 60,000 tons of steel in stock within the group business, and we have a lot of equipment that we need to use to move that steel around and make whatever our customers require of it. So that's a brief outline. We've been privately owned since 1992, and we're the UK's largest independent stockholder.
Perfect. And Peter, a little bit about your company, please.
Yeah, so we're based in Sheffield. We're an electrical contracting company, panel builder and systems integrator. So working a lot with manufacturing companies, water authorities, and railways.
Perfect, that's really important context. So let's get started with our interview. Paul, if I could ask you first, maintenance is often seen as it's a requirement, something we absolutely has to get done, right? Why should companies, from your perspective, why should companies place a high priority on modernizing their maintenance operations?
I think if you look at our maintenance budget, you see it in real terms, it's not a big cost to a business. It's a small budget. It gets given an awful lot of scrutiny. It's nothing in comparison to the energy or the consumables budgets, things like that. I think it's a case of people don't fully understand it, and they need to move their view on the maintenance from problem solving or fixing failures to actually something that's more added value. We then have a control of the machines. We have the downtime on the machines when we want it, that sort of thing, and not, and keeping operations and customers happy from that point of view. But it is certainly, it's viewed not as added value, and I think it should be. That's the key.
Interesting. Let's talk about technology and capabilities. I'm going to ask this question to both of you, but maybe if I could start with you, Peter, if that's okay. Give us an idea of some of the new capabilities available from when it comes to software solutions, things like potentially like Fiix or ThingWorx, or combinations thereof, and the operational benefits that they can potentially bring to a business. What's your perspective on that?
So what we've been able to do is to centralize all the data. So collecting information from all the machines, collecting information from operators and maintenance staff, and then being able to visualize that on one platform. So rather than information being segregated, so everyone getting the same view of that data, so there's a lot more understanding throughout the business.
Interesting. Well, anything you'd like to add to that?
Well, I mean, the big one we've seen is the utilization of the equipment. We're seeing that go up more. It's running more often, and because of a combination of the actual data we're getting through in real time from Pete and the fixed maintenance side of things as well. We're seeing machines running more and ultimately processing more, which is more profitable for the business.
Excellent. Okay. Good. Thank you for that. I'm going to stick with you for a second, Paul, if that's okay. I understand that the deployment of the CMMS is part of a wider transformation. What plans do you have for the near future in terms of other digital projects, and what's your final goal? Is there a final goal?
probably not quite sure where the final goal is going to be at the moment, but there is I have a bit of a view. Yeah, we with the maintenance and the ThingWorx, we're monitoring the equipment in real time. It's giving us the ability to make decisions at the time and not at the end of the month. So that's been a sea change for the business on that front. The longer journey is the integrating of all our machines onto one platform, which is the ThingWorx, having access to them through a networked system, and ultimately, the engineers in the country are short, few and far between for good ones. So the long terms are things like asset centres, so backups and maintenance of all our machines, and then perhaps the nice to have would be Vuforia or something like that with the augmented reality, and not having to send an engineer out 200 miles down the road when he can do it over the phone. So that's the long-term view, but whether we will get there.
It makes a lot of sense. And Peter, if I could just ask you off the cuff, how do you see CHG working with Barrett in order to accomplish those goals? Give us a little context as to what your support and approach will be for that, if that's okay.
Yeah, so we see the digital transformation journey that we're working with Paul and Barrett Steel on as a partnership. So we are part of their team of engineers. So we understand their facilities, we understand their goals they're trying to achieve, and we're digitizing that information by collecting data from all the sites.
Perfect. And I've had a chance to meet several system integrators, and it's always amazing the intimacy and the close collaboration. I mean, it's remarkable. So I think
it's
really great.
Needed because it helps Pete understand our idiosyncrasies, and we aren't the easiest company to work with. We can be demanding and difficult. So I think it's key.
That's a great point. Let's talk about the decision to digitalize. Paul, let me ask this of you, if it's okay. What business pressures or business dynamics, when it comes to customer demands, kind of drove the need to digitalize?
I think originally it came from when I was looking after operations and not so much on the asset care, and we were having a lot of machines, and we were saying it's full, we're processing's full, we're putting lead times out, and then the sales teams put pressure, or the commercial teams put pressure on, saying, how do you know? You're not measuring it, you don't. So that was the drive to start to measure our utilization or our machine usage in a shift pattern. So we started it on a paperwork plan, and we're writing it down every hour's usage. But obviously paperwork is a lot of time, a lot of effort, and the digital transformation side of it was the journey we started with Pete way back then to monitor the machines, and from that gave us question sets and answers that we could utilize and improve our production.
That's great. I'm going to ask this question to both of you, but I'd like to pick on Peter first, if that's okay. What would you say to other companies that may need some motivation to digitize? Peter, what are your thoughts on that?
I think once you start to look at data that's been collected from your operation, you can very quickly see where benefits can be made. I think even just looking at overall data like power monitoring against shift patterns, you'll see massive benefits by sort of being able to visualize that data in context.
Gotcha. That's good perspective. And Paul, anything from your perspective when it comes to advice to other companies that may need to be urged on their digital transformation journey?
I think, again, touching on what Pete said, the actual data, to make those decisions using that data, or be able to make those decisions. Without the data, it's all guesswork. I mean, we had a number of occasions where we would have operators and their efforts in the day-to-day work were not, they were not questionable. They were putting as much effort in. It was just where they were putting that effort. It was flawed. It meant that they weren't productive, and so decisions made around what they were doing helped them to become better operatives and ultimately improve the productivity. So, capturing the data is key.
It makes perfect sense. Without the data, you don't have the insights, and without the insights, you can't take those informed actions.
Yeah.
So, guys, this has been a great discussion. Really appreciate coming into the studio today, so thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
And thank you for watching. If you'd like to learn more about digital transformation and information solutions, visit rockwellautomation.com.